Howdy!
Hello.
Okay. And welcome to episode 33 of Curious Casefiles.
33, yay!
33 if you're in Ireland.
33 is a special number.
Yes, it is.
33.
We might even do a whole episode on 33.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you were here last week, you might recall that I said we'd be going to the moon this week. I lied. I didn't lie. We were planning to go to the moon. But if you might also recall that Jamie said that he fixed my computer and broke his. And that's why we're not going to the moon, because that requires a lot of video. And yeah, we're going to go to the moon and do all the things.
Eventually.
Not because it's easy, but because it's hard. I've heard that somewhere before.
Yeah.
But because it's hard, yeah, we will go to the moon once we fix Jamie's computer. In the meantime, we're going to take a little journey through time.
I love the idea of time travel. This is very interesting. Very intriguing.
You might notice I'm a floating head. That's because it's freezing, so I've stole Jamie's mandigoon.
Well, you know, if not for Jamie's metal zipper there, you both would be floating heads. I'd be between the two floating heads.
If I cover, and then I'll cover my hand. I'm a floating head. Oh, my finger showed.
Got two floating heads.
Just the whole show is a floating head.
Float head. We can get some puppets.
No. Anyway.
Anywho.
Time travel.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a thing? Is it possible? Has it already happened?
Possible.
Well, we've all seen Back to the Future, so yeah, it's possible. You just need a mad scientist to help you along the way.
No, Kelly singing "Fly Me to the Moon." Fly me to the moon. Anyway, that's another time. Time travel. Is that a song about a time machine?
Probably.
Let's do the time.
I know there's
again.
lots of movies, books, movies. I'm a fan of some of the movies, so.
All right, so are we ready?
We're ready.
Grab your coffee.
No.
A blanket over you because it's freezing today. And I'm probably not freezing where you are. I don't even know, but it's freezing where I am. So
no, it's cold.
Put a blanket over you in memory of me.
My coffee is ready. I made it 3 days from now.
Uh-oh. Little time travel joke there.
That was pathetic, James. Right,
I should go back in time and erase that, shall we?
The idea of time travel is not a new one. Although in modern times, it was popularised by fictional works like H.G. Wells' 1895 novel, The Time Machine, and Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol from 1843, in which he went both back and forward in time, with the ghost of Christmas past and Christmas future. It's a story that is literally as old as time. Do you see what I did there?
Tale as old as time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Tales as old as time are strewn throughout ancient mythology, with one of the earliest appearing in the Hindu epic, the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata, which dates back to 400 BC, and which King Kakudmi, which I'm sure that was his name, travels to the heavens to meet the creator, Brahma. Upon his return to Earth, he discovers that many ages have passed and everyone he knew is gone. It's not the only mythological, and I hate the word mythological, but I couldn't think of another word, so it's not the ancient account of time travel in which the theory of relativity occurs, a concept that people in 400 BC were not aware of. A concept that was only put forward by Einstein just over 100 years ago. There are numerous ancient stories or myths which seem to be all too aware of the relationship between time and space. And that is a whole other episode, and if you'd like to see that one, let us know in the comments, because this is not so much about the ancient stuff, although there is loads. Whilst many scientists believe the concept of time travel is possible, there are others who believe the opposite and argue that if it was, we would be overrun. I can't say that for some reason. Overrun. That's 2 words. Is it 2 words?
Oh, it's one.
No.
Overrun. It's 1 word. By time tourists.
Time tourists?
Yeah.
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 So they think they'd be everywhere, all these time tourists.
Actually, I've seen that in a movie as well.
The believers in the possibility of time travel argue that we may well be overrun by time tourists, but they just wouldn't announce themselves, so we wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't.
There's a lot of laws associated with all
That's
that.
right.
Well, they can't allegedly, but in some of the stories, they might have done.
They might have done.
Not to give spoilers.
May have done.
Outside of the scientific arguments, both for and against time travel, on an individual level, it's an idea that fascinates us, and the thought that we could have the ability to visit events in the past, to witness them firsthand, in order to solve some of history's greatest mysteries, like who built the pyramids? Like, just go back and have a gander, like, oh my God, there's an Aryan building a pyramid. Because that's exactly what would happen, apparently. Allegedly, don't come from me. Or just go back on a more personal level, to go back and spend some time with, or just even to see a loved one who has sadly passed away. And that doesn't even cover the concept and the possibility of travelling into the future or going forward in time to see what the future of humanity would look like. It is an interesting concept and one that, as I say, fascinates us. Now, regardless of the reasons for wanting to do so, time travel is not yet possible. At least not as far as we've been told. Although many people believe it is not only already possible, but there is proof that it is. While some have claimed to be actual time travellers themselves, which, as Jamie just said, you're not supposed to do that apparently, others have been silent time tourists who slip in and out and not said a word, but they were caught on camera during their fleeting visit, allegedly.
Ooh.
We'll be the judge of that later. In this episode, we will explore some of these cases of alleged time travellers and look for evidence both for and against. While some can be easily debunked, which they can, it's like, no, you're reaching. There are, however, others which are not so straightforward. There are absolutely loads of these stories and examples. We have chosen just 10 of them, or we'd be here all day. We may cover more at a future date, or we may hop online and buy a flux capacitor and just bung together a time machine, go back in time, and then add more onto this video.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a flux capacitor.
So, if there's more than 10, that's what we've done. But at the moment, there's 10.
Okay.
So let's get into the stories. And I do believe Danielle's going to kick us off.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about a fella named John. Is it Titor?
It's Titor, but I like the John Titor.
Titor.
John Titor.
Teeter. We'll go with Teeter. So in November of 2000, internet posts began to appear from a user using the alias time travel _0. And this was later replaced in 2001 with the name John Teeter.
Or Titor.
Or Titor. Teeter claimed to be an American soldier from the year 2036, sent to 1975 to retrieve an IBM 5100 series. This computer, developed by IBM, could apparently use an IBM proprietary language that he needed to prevent the 2K, the
2K38.
2K38, yeah, because there was a 2K. Okay, the 2K38 bug, and debug some legacy computer programs as well. So now I'm sure you all remember, that's what we were talking about, the Y2K bug. That was like the big thing, right? Everything was going to roll over, and everything was going to crash. But you probably never heard of the 2K38, which I had not prior to.
Unless you're a geek, then you probably have.
Lisa, that would. But it is a real thing, apparently, and based around the 4-byte programming used in C programming language, which controls the storage of time values. The 0 value for this is January 1st, 1970 at 12 a.m. And any time value thereafter is assigned a numerical value. So the maximum value that you can achieve in a 4-byte integer, stay with us here, a maximum value you can achieve in a 4-byte integer is 2,147,483,647. A long number. When this value is reached, the value will roll over into a negative and invalid value. And this number translates as January 19th, 2038. And on this
that makes sense.
Kind of, yeah.
I tried to write it, and it's very complicated. I tried to sort of dumb it down as much as possible so that most people can understand. Not because
dumb it down.
Yeah, well, you got to the way they've written it. They made it so complicated. On like
less scientific. She's making it less scientific and more.
Yeah. I'm making it less. I'm making it for a layman to understand.
I don't think I still quite get it. Can Danielle repeat it about another 5 times? Please?
No. Just pause and rewind.
It goes from 0 to 2,147,483,647.
Right.
0 is January 1st, 1970. The top value, which I just said, I'm not going to say it again, is January 19th, 2038.
Right. And on this date of January 19th, 2038, any C programs using that standard time library will start to have problems with date calculations, which inevitably can cause issues with licenses on softwares, updates, etc., and everything to do with your computer and any other electronic item like that. So none of us here are computer programmers, so we have no idea how easily this can be remedied. But in our mind, it's the obvious solution would be to update it, go from the 4-byte to an 8-byte or a 16-byte or a 32-byte to give yourself more time, right? But we have no idea.
Simple enough, but I don't know.
It sounds simple enough, but we have no idea. Of
Pull that in, shove that in, problem solved.
Yeah, Bob. Poor Danielle. They always get me, don't they?
Well, look, I didn't know Jamie'd be reading it.
Yeah.
Aw, Jamie. So anyway, again, we have no idea of the compatibility issues or if that would even work. But that's not relevant. And apparently, John Teeter, or Titor, thought that it could be fixed by acquiring an IBM 5100 series from the year 1975. So he allegedly traveled back in time to get one. And apparently they don't have eBay in 2036. Lisa found out.
Now, I actually looked this up. You can go on eBay and you can, in the UK, they've got parts. They've not got a whole one in the UK eBay. They've got parts. In the American eBay, they do have whole ones that actually turn on. Now, even if they only had parts, and whenever he's looking for it, If you can build a time machine, you can take the fucking parts of a 1970s computer and put them back together. In my opinion, don't come for me.
Where do you see a picture of this old computer?
Oh yeah, I've got a picture. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, children make Raspberry computers these days at school, as part of their lesson. So one of these basic computers shouldn't be too hard, I wouldn't have thought.
That's it. Look at that for technology, everybody. Look at the tiny telly.
Oh my goodness.
It looks like a toy till, doesn't it?
Yeah, my first till.
I expect some plastic sort of numbers to pop up at the top.
If you pull that bit under the keyboard, there's loads of plastic monies in there.
Plastic money.
It looks like an 8-track cassette or whatever that would fit into the right side over there.
Can you imagine trying to read a script off that tiny telly, though?
No. Not at all.
One word per slide would be here all
Yeah.
day. Yeah. So that's what you come back in time to get.
Wow.
And this picture was actually taken off one of the eBay listings in which they do sell them.
There's no better proof than that.
Yeah. So
if you want to buy yourself an IBM, we better say you can go to eBay. At least it's shown you the.
Yeah. So if you want to make some money, knowing that this Y238K whatever bullshit is going to happen, buy some of these, and then time travelers will be coming back, and they'll be so high in demand because apparently the only way they can get them is to come back in time to get them.
You could be rich.
You'd be rolling it,
Yeah.
Jamie. What happens next?
Issues. Right.
I'm into this now.
In November 2000, internet posts began to appear from a user using the alias timetravel_0.
I already did that.
Yeah.
You're on the wrong page.
Oh.
You're reading the one that Danielle just read.
Just in case you remind.
Yeah, just a quick reminder.
This was a time travel.
Live stream, everybody.
I thought I've done that quite well, and
Yeah.
I've already fucked up.
We just went back in time and had Jamie reread that. For you.
Okay. It probably freaked a load of people out, like, wow, I've just gone back in time.
I'm sure I've heard this before. It's like deja vu.
Yeah.
Tita's post used the profile image of what he claimed was his military insignia. The first post from the name timetravel_0 appeared on November the 2nd, 2000 on the Time Travel Institute forums. The initial post discussed time travel in general, the first one being the 6 parts description of the components required for a working time machine and responses to questions from other posts about how such a machine might work. A bit like an IBM machine, perhaps. In case you're interested, those 6 parts were...
Because I'm sure you're all very interested.
Indeed. 2 magnetic housing units for the dual micro singularities, because
Sounds about
I
right.
don't even know what they are. An electron injection manifold to alter mass and gravity micro singularities.
Yeah, I'm just
Everybody
grabbing
needs
one
one
of
of
them.
those.
Yeah. Flux capacitor. No, not flux capacitor. A cooling and X-ray venting system. You got to have ventilation. Health and safety
have one of
first.
those.
Ventilation. Very important.
Gravity sensors or a variable gravity lock. Yeah, you got to keep things secure.
Yeah, you don't want to be floating about and
No.
4 main cesium clocks.
Yeah.
Because
You
Whatever
never
the
have
fuck
enough
they are.
clocks. Can't have
whatever
enough.
the fuck they are, we need them though. Cesium clocks.
and finally 3 main computer units. So
Yeah.
now we know we can.
So they can get all them on eBay,
Yeah.
but they can't get an IBM.
And a pair of child's plastic handled scissors. Yeah, then. Yeah, you probably need
And
scissors.
an empty toilet roll tube.
Yeah. Titter described his time machine on several occasions. In one early post, he described it as a stationary mass temporal displacement unit powered by 2 topspin dual positive singular. He likes using the word singularities. I just think he just found a nice word. That
I think he's single.
I think he's just used the word what people think. What the hell is that? I better not question it because I'll look dumb.
Yeah.
That's what he's done.
Wait till you get to the next thing that you said, though.
Yeah, and producing a standard offset Tipler sinusoid.
Sinusoid.
That's like a transformer.
Sinusoid. I don't know if that's something that
Dinosaur.
sounds like something you stick up your nose.
I said
That
I
does
was
sound
sinus.
like yeah, he probably had medication, a cold or something,
Yeah.
blocked nose, and that was
So
good
that's
something. So
I mean,
that sounds
we
straightforward.
might
doesn't it?
get banned for the internet because we've just told you how to create a time machine now, and it's so easy to do. All you need is a gravity lock, a sinusoid, a singularity, and a toilet roll tube, and you can go fucking anywhere. Honestly, the possibilities are endless.
Endless. Which
Let's
is what
see,
you want when
I
you're
am-
time traveling.
As you can see, I believe this. Right,
I'm not
Teeter
surprised.
started posting photos of his time machine. Oh, yes, he did. And we'll get to that in a minute. And it was installed within a 1967 Chevrolet Camaro,
Ooh.
which I'm very disappointed in because why not a DeLorean? Why not? Why not?
I don't know.
DeLoreans were bad news.
Transformer movies, isn't it?
They were bad news.
And I'm just going to show you one of the pictures that he shared of it in his Chevrolet. And you're going to be blown away. Look at that.
Wow.
That thing takes up the whole. Holy crud.
Yeah, it's in the. I think it's in the. Like taking up the whole. You've got the driver's seat, and you've had to
Yeah,
take the
and even
passenger
like
seat
that.
out. You've had to take the passenger. But you know what it reminds me of a little bit when I first saw it? It looks like one of them things in Ghostbusters that you captured a ghost in.
Wow, it catches ghosts as well.
Yeah, so it catches ghosts as well as letting you travel through time.
My
Maybe
question is, where's the toilet tube?
Where's
The toilet tube is hidden inside, Jamie.
Oh.
Maybe that's where they got the idea from.
It's holding it all together. Toilet tube and duct tape. Because you need duct tape if you're making a time machine. In my
You
opinion,
always need duct tape.
Teeter claimed his machine, a model C204 gravity distortion time replacement unit, which he called a GDT-TDU, because
For sure.
because if you abbreviate it, it sounds legit. Legit as fuck. It was powered by a mini black hole made by CERN in Switzerland.
What?
It's just sounding more and more legit by the minute.
No
here.
way.
I don't know why-
Wait,
I don't
hold
know
on.
Why anybody doubts this shit?
Did it really do that?
Yeah.
No, you made that part up.
No, that's what he said.
Allegedly.
That's what he said, Danielle. It's John Teeter. It's a man for the future saying this. It's not me.
A mini black hole
That was
made by
powered
It was
CERN.
made by CERN in Switzerland.
All
and
right.
it was kept, but it was also kept suspended in a magnetic bottle.
Along with 2 butterflies.
He didn't mention butterflies. That was Jamie. So
It was Jamie.
how dare you mock John Teeter, Jamie, and his time machine?
Well, I suppose it weren't a jar, it was a bottle. Why didn't you use a jar for a black hole, you know?
Because he wanted to use a bottle. Because
That's all he had.
that's all he had on hand. He was having some coke and.
Oh, I think he was having some coke.
Yeah, just not the Coca-Cola kind.
I think that could have been the problem.
So it was only a few months later, in January 2001, when the name was changed to John Teeter from the previous name. And this person started posting on an Art Bell bulletin board forum. And we all know who Art Bell is. If we don't know who Art Bell is, why are you watching a mystery history program? Art Bell. Coast to coast, everybody.
Go look him up, guys.
Art Bell. He's got like the turtlenecks and he's like, yeah, Art Bell. I don't know why I done that for a turtleneck, but yeah.
That was convincing. You convinced me.
And the
All
reason
right.
that he changed his name to John Teeter is because on this internet bulletin board, it required a username for every account. And the one that he had before was a bit shit. So he needed a new one. He posted between January and late March of 2001. And then he vanished. Just because he went back to the future, everybody.
No, I
apparently,
know what
allegedly,
happened. I'll
uncovered.
tell you afterwards.
But whilst he was posting, he gave a lot of information. A lot of information. Teeter said that he had been selected for the mission to go back to the 70s for the IBM because his parental grandfather was directly involved in the original assembly and the programming of the 5100, and also because eBay no longer existed, so he had no choice. Anyway, he attempted to provide... he didn't say eBay no longer existed, I just made that bit up. But obviously it doesn't, or he would have saved himself a lot of effort. He attempted to provide proof of this by describing unpublicized features of the 5100, which led some people to believe that a computer scientist or a computer engineer must have been behind the postings. Which is quite, I mean, it is somebody that knows a little bit what they're talking about in regards to computers, which you can, obviously, all the components he's talking about and the shit that he's talking, he knows something about something. Doesn't mean that he's from the future.
No.
But he knows something about something. He claimed, this is like, obviously, you've got, like, he's come from the future to go back to the 70s for the computer. This is happening in 2001. And people's like, well, why in 2001?
Yeah.
Because you've got your IBM. Just go home. Go home and fix
Just
your,
get your little
fix
black
your little
hole in the
computer
jar
problem.
and off you go.
He claimed that he was on a stopover in the year 2000 because let's all go back to the year 2000 for personal reasons.
A stopover.
Personal
Like a-
reasons.
like a
Like a
layover.
jolly on the way home, which included visiting family and collecting copies of pictures that he had lost in a future civil war, which we'll get to shortly.
Wow.
In a future. Oh,
And
very interesting.
yeah.
All right, he's got quite the imagination.
Danielle's going to now read the next page and not the page that I just read because only Jamie does shit like that.
So Teeter also said that for several months he had been trying to warn anyone who would listen about the potential threat of Creutzfeldt Jakob disease, which is also known as mad cow disease, and about the possibility of an upcoming. He also was going to warn about an upcoming possibility of an upcoming civil war within the United States. When questioned about the topic, Teeter also expressed interest in mysteries such as UFOs, which he said remained unexplained in his time. Now, Teeter even suggested that UFOs...
That's an easy answer, isn't it? Oh, it's still unexplained.
Yeah,
so
they still don't know what happens. So he even suggested that UFOs and extraterrestrials might be time travelers with superior time machines.
Because theirs is not in a car.
From much further into the future than his own time.
They're superior because they're not in a Chevy, though.
That's why
they're in a flying saucer.
That's why he had to go back in time, because all the aliens had brought up all the IBM computers. So it was stuff. So he's like, I can't even find them on eBay. I'm gonna have to go back in time.
Jamie, you're not listening. You don't need the IBM computer to make your time machine. You need your time machine to get your IBM computer to fix the date.
Oh, just to fix
on your
the
home
date,
computer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Is that how you guys fixed yours?
No comment. No comment.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Teeter often spoke about the many worlds hypothesis of quantum mechanics, in which events from his timeline may differ slightly from our own. However, he also stated that the differences would be minimal.
That's convenient as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So, because the events are going to differ, whatever he says,
that did come.
If and when it doesn't happen, it's because he's from a different timeline. How convenient!
I mean, that's how I would play it.
Or he's going to, imitate Nostradamus, and he made some predictions.
Yeah.
Of course he did.
He foretold of a civil unrest in the United States having to do with order and rights. Again,
that's very basic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Civil unrest because of order and rights. Every civil unrest that's happened throughout history was because people thought their rights were being taken away from them.
Yeah.
Very general.
Anyway, this would apparently begin in 2005. He said this would begin with civil unrest surrounding the presidential election, which we now know was the Bush-Cheney presidency, or we can expect it was. If he got his dates wrong, I mean, you don't know if this IBM date time thing worked. I don't know.
Spoiler alert, that didn't happen.
Yeah. According to John...
Maybe it should have done, but it didn't.
Yeah. According to John, this civil unrest, which he described as having a Waco type event every month, was steadily got worse.
This confused me that he described it as like a Waco type event every month.
You mean like the Waco Texas?
Like, cults are like gonna like do mass suicide things and every month. How many cults did he think there was?
Yeah.
That's a different topic altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a completely it's a really a Waco type event. Why a Waco type event?
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, sorry.
I mean, would he known what example to show? Like why he chose the Waco one? I don't know.
It's a random one to choose, though, isn't it? Having a Waco type event every month. Well,
yeah.
Well, the Waco
type events are quite rare.
But the Waco event was they came in on David Koresh and all those people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So anyway, this Waco event would be pretty much on everyone's doorsteps and would eventually erupt into a full-blown civil war in 2008.
Which didn't happen.
This would result in the United States becoming split into 5 regions
Which didn't happen either.
Based on a variety of different factors, including differing military objectives. This war would then end in 2015.
Which didn't happen because it didn't start in 2008.
No. With a brief but intense World War III, which Tito described as End Day, hinting at nuclear war. So again, he didn't actually
say, but calling it End Day.
Yeah.
So the letter N for nuclear, End Day, right?
He didn't actually say, but like using that letter and then what he said afterwards sort of hints at that.
Yeah.
He said that Washington, D.C. and Jacksonville, Florida would be destroyed in this war, and as a result of Omaha, Nebraska would become the new U.S. capital.
Why Omaha? Is it Omaha like... you're American, Danielle. If something was to happen to Washington, D.C., is Omaha, Nebraska like second in line?
No, I don't even know why Omaha. I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere. Nebraska's like flatland corn.
You'd think like somewhere like New York or something.
Yeah, it's not like a bustling city.
Right. So, well, as you can imagine, he didn't really go into detail about the causes of this world war. But in one post, he did state that the hostilities were led by border clashes and overpopulation. Again, obviously,
quite general.
Yeah, quite general. That seemed to happen all the while. Everyone seemed to complain about these sort of issues. He also stated that the Arab-Israel conflict, although not a direct cause of this war, would be a notable milestone that precedes it.
Well, that's been going on for years.
Not only that, but I don't know. I mean, that's also biblical.
Yeah. And that's been going on for years, so it's quite easy. Like,
had his information.
Yeah.
He's been copying God's work.
Yeah. Plagiarism.
Oh, we've got an explanation to that. Look.
Oh, look at Kelly.
Because Obama House is our military headquarters, placed right in the middle of the corn belt that feeds our enemies. It was brilliant placement. Look at you! Look at the big brain on Kelly.
Wow,
everybody.
Kelly!
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution and our information, Kelly.
Yeah, we know why now.
Yeah, just really quickly, if you just read that as well.
Yeah. During his post, he claimed his time machine was built by General Electric for the US military and posted some of the schematics back to back this up.
I've got them.
In March.
Look at that. I'm convinced.
Now it looks a bit more technical there.
Yeah, and you can see the toilet tubes.
You can see the
toilet tubes.
Yeah. Sorry, Jamie. In March.
Yeah.
What happened in March, Jamie?
What happened in March is he claimed his stopover to visit his parents had come to an end, and he was returning to his own time. He was never heard from again.
Oh,
that's because he fiddled about with his little black hole in the jam jar, and it pulled him in, sucked him in, and he's all been stretched and
so
disintegrated or something.
Here we are in 2023. And none of these things happened on the dates that he claimed they would.
Go figure.
We didn't see a massive civil war break out in the US that culminated in a short world war and the destruction of Washington, D.C. and Jacksonville. And there wasn't a huge uprising after the Bush shiny 2004 election.
Yeah.
But all the things he hinted at as being the causes for the conflict are real, ongoing worldwide issues. Politics, border crisis, overpopulation, etc. So quite general things that could be attributed to anything.
Yeah.
Many people, however, still believe that John Titor was legitimately a time traveller from the future. And some argue the fact that he warned us about these events stopped them from occurring. Whilst others argue that in his time stream, they happened at different dates. And thus, it will still happen here, just not on those dates. And they use current events, especially like we're doing this in 2023, they use current events to argue that it is in fact already happening, claiming it wasn't the 2004 election that started it, but the 2021. And what is still to come. But we won't get into all that bullshit because with this video will get banned, but you know what I'm talking about. So, personally, however, I'm just going to put this out there. I call bullshit.
Feel free.
Yeah. Whichever individual or individuals posted as John Teeter had done their homework and they knew about a lot of things like physics, computer programming, etc.
And
singularities and toilet tubes, etc. But that doesn't make them a time traveller. And again, the whole reason for travelling back in time was to get a random computer that they could have got on eBay or just went to a second-hand shop down the road or whatever.
But they didn't have it anyway.
Yeah, in order to sort out a date issue that computers will face in 2038 unless they are updated.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of work for nothing, really.
Yeah.
So his actual story of why he was there in the first place is stupid before he's even started anything else. In my opinion, don't come from me.
Let me just put this up. I agree with this comment.
I think the empty toilet rolls were used on his bullshit. I agree.
Yeah.
So, before going home, he decided to go on a jolly, come back and visit his own family in the year 2000 first, which frankly would have freaked him the fuck out if this really happened. Now, according to what AJ said he was apparently already born in 2000, so his younger self was in that timeline. And at this point, he was a young infant. Now, if some random dude turns up at your door and is like, "Hello, Mum, it's me. I'm your baby, but I'm older because I've come back from the future to get a IBM
computer.
Blah, 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 blah. You're going to be like backing away slowly and like, what the fuck? Phone the men in the white coats, phone the police, because there's a crazy bastard at my door. You wouldn't be like, oh, John, it's you. Come in, son. Come in. I'll put the kettle on. I'll make you a cup of coffee, and we'll flip through the family album so you can get copies of the photos that were destroyed in the Civil War that's not happened yet.
Maybe that's why he disappeared. Maybe he was taken to like an asylum or something.
Also,
Danielle's? That's another rabbit. I didn't even think about that.
Oh no! Side quest.
No,
why would you? Oh, I don't know. I mean, has he not seen Back to the Future movies? He might start vanishing. His hand might disappear.
Yeah,
might disappear. Yeah, what if he went and met? And then they did, she didn't go, oh my God, a crazy bastard, and let him in. And then he's met himself, which is weird. And he's picked up his little toddler self and then accidentally dropped him. Killed his toddler self.
But I thought that's not you can't happen. You can't
What if he accidentally killed his toddler self because
you can't have both of them talking and interacting with each other. At least that's what they tell us in the movies. It's not supposed to happen.
They're all that.
So anyway, nobody has ever come forward and claimed that they were this John Teeter, and that's what keeps this urban legend alive, with the argument being surely that they would have admitted it by now. Why would they?
Why?
I don't. However, there are many theories as to who made these posts. A 2009 report on the website Hoax Hunter postulated that a Florida entertainment lawyer called Larry Haber was responsible for this. He was a for-profit company, or a for-profit company was formed in September 2003 called the John Teeter Foundation, registered to a post box in Kissimmee, Florida, or Kissimmee, however some people pronounce it, which apparently corresponds.
Because I didn't have a clue.
Yeah, which apparently corresponds to one of the IP addresses used by the poster claiming to be John Teeter, originating out of Kissimmee. The hoax,
because the IP address, is linked to that, and that's where he comes from.
So this website, the Hoax Hunter website, claimed that Haber was the CEO of this foundation, and his brother Richard Haber is coincidentally a computer scientist, which would explain a few things.
That'd be handy.
Yeah. Bizarrely, a man called Marlon B. Pullman from Tulsa, Oklahoma, using an address in Alexandria, Virginia, filed a patent in 2004 for what is basically John Teeter's time machine.
There it is.
Yeah. This patent application, titled Method of Gravity Distortion and Time Displacement, has since been abandoned, but Who the hell is this dude? I
don't know.
So apparently he's a computer scientist and a published author. He published a book called Oracle Identity Management in 2008 and did work for the Oracle Corporation, which is the third largest software company in the world. And many people believe he is John Titor. And he's also apparently a convicted criminal. He was arrested in 2013.
Yes, he was. And it's not pretty
for selling IBM knockoff IBM computers on.
So he doesn't look the type, but
this is the actual report from the Daily Mail regarding his arrest. As you can see, I've got to be careful here because there's a word in here that if I say, this video is going to get taken down. So, computer executive done something to 4 women he met at parties after drugging them with LSD, ecstasy, and laughing gas injected through spring-loaded syringes. And there's a whole article on it, and there's some pictures of him. Mm-hmm. This could be John Titor. Now, after he was arrested, I looked up what actually happened to him, and
is it going to get spooky?
It's not going to get spooky. It's just it's not relevant, but it might be. If it's John Titor, it's relevant. But right. I'm going to tell you anyway because I thought I went down on a rabbit hole here. So because I went down it, I'm going to tell you about it. He pleaded guilty to attempted second-degree assault, unlawful possession of ecstasy, and unlawful possession of ketamine. He pleaded no contest to second-degree sexual abuse. He refused to take responsibility for the sexual assault and maintained his innocence. The attempted assault he did plead guilty to stems from an incident in December 2012 when he enticed a woman at a party that he had formerly dated to his car in order to inhale nitrous oxide or laughing gas. While Pullman and his former girlfriend were in the back seat of the car, she said he injected her in the neck with a drug using a spring-loaded medical syringe. She was hospitalized and unconscious for at least 4 hours. A doctor found concentrations of the drug scopolamine in the woman's system, which can be legally obtained and is often used to treat nausea. But prosecutors have said that the drug is infamously, I can't speak today, infamously used by Colombian gangs to block memory. I wish to express my remorse, Pullman said, referring to his actions that December. So he's pleaded guilty to this part, the attempted. While he said he disagreed to the severity of the punishment he is facing, he said, I accept responsibility. So he thinks the punishment's too severe. He did it, but that's too much for punishment. Wow. Judge Judith Matarazzo sentenced Pullman to 6 years and 3 months in prison. He was required to register as a sex offender when he's released. He probably is released by now. I couldn't find any more on him. Okay. Matarazzo said she would recommend drug treatment for him, but she couldn't ensure that he'd actually get it. So whether that happened or not, no idea. We all get to choose how we walk through life, she told him. She added that when he gets out of prison, she would hope that you want to walk through life in a different fashion that you have walked so far. Including lying about time travel.
Or if it was real, he could have changed some of this.
Yeah, he could have went back in time and not done it, and then he wouldn't have went to prison. But, whatever.
Isn't it interesting that the time traveler got time?
Yeah, the time traveler got hard time. Yeah. Prosecutor Christopher Ramrus called the sentence fair, but he didn't mince words when describing what he thought of Pullman. He said, Mr. Pullman is one of the most dishonest people I've ever had the experience of dealing with as a defendant. And considering that he made up a huge big fucking story,
well, he might have done.
On the internet, allegedly don't come for me, and he's a sex offender, and he doesn't take responsibility for that and still denies it to this day, he is a liar. And
yeah, maybe he was the time traveler and they just went, we've got to get rid of this dude. He's such a wanker.
Jamie's going into
very
conspiracy.
English word.
Jamie's going into conspiracy.
Let's go get a black hole, chuck him in it with his toilet tubes and his shit IBM computer, and have done with it.
But wouldn't you, if they
you wouldn't have had the IBM
if they'd done that to him in 2012, was it?
Yeah.
He's still got his little car, his little time machine in it. Couldn't he just got in his time machine and escaped?
Maybe he misplaced.
I'm just wondering why a man with a time machine would even go to. Why would you be doing stuff like this? You know.
Yeah. I don't know.
I know, Daniel. I know. Because it's bullshit, Daniel.
Well, okay. I'll agree with that one.
But this one might not be, and you're going to tell me about it, aren't you?
Sure, I'll tell you.
On this one.
So this is about a time traveling hipster, because we all need one of those in our history.
Are they wearing the mandigan like I've got on?
We'll find out. So there was a photograph taken in 1941 at the opening of the South Fork Bridge in Canada, and it appeared online in 2010, and it sparked controversy, convincing some that time travel is real. Why? Well, this photo depicts the crowd who had formed for the opening, all wearing time-appropriate clothing, and amidst them is what has been dubbed the hipster, a man wearing wraparound sunglasses, sporting what some describe as a modern haircut, wearing a graphic printed t-shirt, a zipped-up cardigan, or a hoodie, and holding a camera that appears too small for that time period, apparently. And I think, can spot him in there.
So, straight off, he does look a bit out of place. I'm not gonna. They've all got suits on.
They all look like they come home from bingo.
They've all got their little hats on, but they are all a great deal older than him. So I don't know.
Yeah. It is.
It's 1941.
It is true. Like, I would have not, like, what he's wearing and everything would look more like the 60s and past versus the 40s.
This is 1941. But one thing that does stand out, if he is that out of place and that is that bizarre an outfit, etc., why is nobody staring at him like, what the fuck? You think people would be like, the fuck is he wearing?
Maybe they didn't see him.
Maybe they didn't. Yeah, maybe he's out of phase.
Maybe he's invisible to he's out of phase, Danielle.
Maybe he is.
Solved.
Is he?
We don't need to know anymore. Danielle solved it. He's out of phase.
Well, it was also debunked by others. So many were quick to debunk this time traveler theory, claiming that the camera was a Kodak 35, which was a smaller model that was available in 1941. I don't know, I feel like Marissa Tomei at that point. It was available in 1941 Buick Sky. No, all right. Smaller model.
See about that, Daniel.
Yeah. So let's compare. All right. No. So we're looking at what's in his hand, which is very difficult to
straight away
ascertain there.
I'm thinking that's not the same.
No.
Now, is it not the same because that is the only small camera that was available in 1941? I don't know, but that's the one that everybody says that it is, and it clearly isn't. So, could they not find that one? That one's different.
Yeah, what we can see, it's hard to see.
In my opinion, do you think it's the same?
I think it's very difficult to tell. I don't know how
that one looks that he's holding looks completely black, and that one's got silver bits on it, and they would show up.
There is differences.
I don't think it's the same. It could something like that. What he's holding could have been available, and
maybe he got the deluxe version because he's from the future. He could bring extra money.
Something like that could have been available in 1941. But if it was, why are they not showing you that as like this is what it is to debunk?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't just the camera though that apparently they were able to pick apart here. Next, the T-shirt that he was wearing, it's also been debunked as being a logo, the letter M of the Montreal Maroons hockey team that played in the NHL from 1924 to 1938. So obviously, like, it would have been okay for him to be wearing this shirt because that team had existed. However, on comparison again, the M's are not quite the same. I think do we have a photo of that?
Yes, we do.
We do. Okay.
And there it is.
Yeah.
That's not the same.
Similar, but not the same.
Like if you look at like the picture, I've got a picture of like the whole team wearing it, and I've got like down the bottom there. That's just a single picture. That M has got like little bits that stick out either side of the top, and that one hasn't.
No, that's also got a white sort of.
You know, we could also assume that that's a letter M because of what we see exposed in his shirt, but it's possible it could have been a design or even something else. The way the
could be anything. Yeah, it could be anything.
It could be a camel with two square-ish humps on the back. We don't know. We just never know.
It's a square camel, Jay.
That's what it is.
Square camel.
I'm not convinced on that either.
No.
All right. Well, then there's the sunglasses. Finally, the sunglasses, right, with protective sides were available in the 1940s. So apparently that's been debunked as well. Now, as for the haircut, I mean, who the hell knows? All sorts of haircuts. They come in and out of fashion and style over and over again. So
I wouldn't even call that a haircut, to be honest. That was like the wind.
He got up out of bed.
Apparently, it's a modern haircut. I mean, I wouldn't go that far.
No.
Yeah.
The glasses, yeah. If them ones on the left were available, there'd bound to have been similar ones.
Yeah.
They're not. These are not identical, but
No.
I would buy that. Maybe those glasses were available. The haircut.
I think.
Who the hell knows? People are getting mullets in 2023, and they're like. I don't mean that they come for the 70s. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I think the thing what makes him stick out is not mainly the certain things what he's got or what he may not be holding. I think it's all of it, obviously, in total. But I think it's because of the rest of the crowd. When you look at the rest of the crowd, they are much older. But perhaps he was a young guy with an interest that a lot of people don't share. But yeah.
Well, I would agree that like calling him the hipster. You know, he has that appearance for sure. Compared, everybody else was dressed in business clothes, and
he was too cool for school.
Do you reckon there's like?
Now, does that make him a time traveler, though?
No,
not really.
No, but yes and no. He made a bit ahead of his time.
Yeah, he was ahead of his time.
But
well done, Danielle.
That he came for the future just to watch a bridge getting opened. Now, just because of the things that they're using to debunk it, I don't agree with. Don't mean that I think he's a time traveler.
All right. Well,
because, again, the reactions of the people, but then he might be out of phase, like Danielle said, and like blow my mind.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie can tell us about another traveler.
Yeah.
Yes,
allegedly.
All right. Next one, I'm going to tell you about the boxing fan.
The boxing fan.
Yeah.
Well, like a when you're hot, you put a fan on you.
Yeah. No, not that.
Not a box fan. A boxing fan.
Boxing,
boxing. Do that again, Danielle.
Boxing fan.
Danielle's boxing skills. Right. So, footage from one of Mike Tyson's fights in 1995 went viral in 2021, and some social media users were convinced there was a time traveler there. In the crowd, there was a spectator holding a device in one hand and filming the fight. A device many claim was not available available until 1995. Oh,
no, not available in 1995.
I said it right the first time. I was confusing myself. But let's take a look anyhow. Forget the time, but something around 95.
Forget the time.
There you go.
Yeah. So a cell phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danielle straight away says, "What, the cell phone?" Yes, Danielle. That's what they think it is.
The cell phone.
So this made people think, oh, there's a time traveler come back to watch this fight.
Yeah, and he has modern hair, maybe.
I wouldn't. Yeah, he's not
He's got
modern hair. He's not got modern hair. I don't know what's going on with his hair, but it's not relevant.
He's only got 3 fingers. He's an alien.
He's not only got 3 fingers.
So this was in 1995, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But look how 2021 is when that became viral. I don't know.
Yeah, nobody noticed till 2021.
Yeah.
Anyway, many claim it's a Samsung or iPhone, which would make the person filming a time traveler, as obviously these didn't exist. However, it does bear striking similarities to the Fuji Simple H18 camcorder, which was released in 1993. Have we got a picture of that?
Yes, we do, because I'm very organised. I just need to find it.
Yeah, I think that's mystery solved.
I think this one has a strong resemblance, for sure.
Yes, yes it is. I agree. It's exactly the same shape. The things are all in the right place.
The same cutout, yeah.
The little black bit down the bottom, the bit on the left side, that's got the little black bit coming out below his little finger, could be part of the strap. It's the same.
When I've looked into this before, there's been a couple of models, and there's been even with the variations, they still look very similar at this time period. So I think that is.
I think I agree. It's not a time traveler. He's got one of them.
Yeah.
Solved.
It's solved for us. There's still going to be people out there
going,
nope.
Be like, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Right.
Yes, it is. Yeah, calm your tits. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think so.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
But it is. It actually is. Staying on the theme of photographs, going to go to the 1962 World Cup.
Somebody's going to change the outcome of the World Cup.
No, they're not.
No.
That would have been more exciting than this. But, yeah. You've just made this really deflating now. It's going to sound shit. You've ruined my story before I even started. It's going to sound really shit now. So, during the 1962 World Cup, when the champion team was celebrating with a trophy, the following picture was taken, and I'll show you in a minute. But before we do that, I'm just going to say many time travelers, or sorry, not many time travelers, many time travel believers postulate that this is proof that time travel is real, because within this picture, there's a hand in the forefront holding up what people claim to be a cell phone or mobile phone and photographing the event.
I've noticed.
What do you think?
Time travelers seem to like going to sporting events
with a mobile phone.
That's what I've noticed. Yeah.
So let's have a look. And straight away, it doesn't look mobile phony.
It doesn't look like a cell phone.
People think it's a flip phone, but it doesn't look. No. But it doesn't look like all the other cameras in the picture either.
No, I'll grant them that. It looks.
Like if you look at like on the big version of the picture, on the back row on the right, look at the size of that fucking camera. Look at that's huge.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I have no idea.
Why is he filming his testicles? That's what I want to know.
He's not filming his testicles.
He clearly is.
Shut up, Jacob.
He clearly is.
I don't know what it is. There actually is no theories as to what. Nobody's actually got. Oh, it's this device. Okay, so I don't know what it is. It might not even be a camera. It could be some sort of voice recorder.
I know what it is.
Is it a voice recorder? Like a tape recorder? I don't know.
I think it's a first generation Game Boy with one of the magnifying glasses attachments that you used to get on top. That's what I see.
A Game Boy in 1962.
Yeah, still not believable.
I don't know what it is.
If you had a Game Boy, you'd still be a time traveler. I don't know what it is.
And why would he be holding up his
And now
forget that.
Like focused on the fact that if it is a camera, he's filming his crotch, which is weird. So let's move on. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's a cell phone. I don't know if it's a camera. I have no idea. And nobody's come forward and said, this is what it is.
They're not going to, because it's embarrassing. They're like,
whatever it is. I mean, even it's pointed at him, but it certainly doesn't. The image that we're looking at looks more like Donald Trump than this guy standing there. It does not look like this man.
I don't know.
You know, the image that's facing her or him or whoever's taking the.
I thought it looked like if you're like stating that is a screen, a viewfinder, it looks like a volcano erupting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's weird.
But I don't know what it is. No. But it doesn't mean that he's a time traveler.
No.
No.
Now, we all know there's huge mysteries that Native Americans have presented. And we're going to go on to the time travel theory with them as well. So there is a Native American mural, and a mural called Mr. Pinchon and the Settling of Springfield, which was created by an Italian artist, Umberto Romano, in 1937.
Let's go have Bart Simpson in it, isn't it?
Oh, wow. No. It showed in
Springfield.
Yeah.
Springfield, Illinois. No. It showed English colonist William Pinchon, founder of Springfield, Massachusetts, USA, interacting with Native Americans. But if you look closer, one of the tribesmen, which we're going to show you, appears to be using yet again a smartphone.
Because everybody's got a smartphone. I mean, you think they would have learned when they're traveling back in time not to get their mobile phone out?
Now, being the skeptics that we are and everybody else, they postulate that it's a mirror, but it is weird.
Right, if you can't see him, he's in the forefront to the left of the guy in the pink tracksuit. That's not a tracksuit, but whatever. And he's sitting, is he in the bath? I don't know. He's in the oval thing.
I do know what. I'm going to have to study this photo in more detail later because there's so much going on.
Yeah, there's a lot to take in.
How are you supposed to present like with the red circle? Where's your red circle, your pointer?
I've zoomed in for you. I'm just showing you as a whole what's going on in the scene before I zoom in. Don't panic. Are you ready?
I'm ready. This was allegedly 1937, people.
No, it was 19. That's when he painted it, 1937.
Yeah.
He's painting something that happened like a long time before 1937, but the painting was made in 1937.
Now, look at the dude looking at him like, what do you got in your hand?
Yeah. It's like, are you seriously going to put this up on ye old YouTube? Are you going to like put this up on Facebook?
I want to know the authenticity of this painting.
That is authentic.
That is authentic.
It's an authentic painting. Skeptics say that it's a mirror.
Yeah. I actually do have a suggestion as well, which of
is it going to be stupid?
So a little bit, but they did have them. They used to have you've heard of sort of clay tablets. They used to have miniature clay tablets that they would used to have like people's debts and things like that written on them, and they somehow scratch them out or adjust.
So you think it's a little tiny clay tablet?
Yeah, which is still quite
I mean, but yes, it is weird. Being what we know about cell phones and what they look like, you can see right away why someone would think that that's what it is. But
yeah.
He's tweeting. He's like, "Oh my god, these white people have turned up wearing pink clothes and they look ridiculous. They're arresting us all and putting us in the stocks and shit. What's going on?" So he's on Twitter.
Yeah,
ye old Twitter.
I don't know.
I don't know what it is. Is it a cell phone? That's up to you, really. It is authentic, though. It is an authentic painting from that time period, depicting an earlier time period.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
Wonder what the Native Americans think of that one.
Yeah. Maybe somebody should ask them, like, what is that? What would you had that you held in your hand like that while you were lying in the bath?
They may be like, "Oh yeah, we had that. That's
Yeah. And who is it now? Is it me? Is it Jamie?
Jamie.
Yeah.
Me.
It's Jamie. I'm so confused because I'm still like, that's pointing at the crotch. I don't know what it is, but he's pointing at the crotch. I've still got that in my head.
I got him, yeah. Andrew, this is going to be about Andrew Carlson.
Carlson.
That's
Double S-I-N.
Yeah, that's why I went Carlson, just so you know. 44-year-old Andrew Carlson was supposedly arrested in 2003 by the FBI for Securities and Exchange Commission violations for making 126 high-risk stock trades and being successful on every one.
Ooh.
As reported, Carlson started with an initial investment of $800 and ended up with over $350 million in just 2 weeks. Wow. I need this guy in my life.
Right.
Which unsurprisingly drew attention of the SEC. Whatever that is.
Securities Exchange Commission, which
what you said earlier. So, yeah, the authorities were convinced Mr. Carlson's achievements involved fraud. Yes, you would expect that.
You'd be like, this is a bit dodgy.
Yeah.
Something's afoot.
He must have had some insider trading trader information.
You were right the first time. Insider trader information.
Yeah. However, whilst in custody, he claimed to be a time travel from the year 2256. 250 years in the future.
Sounds legit.
Yeah, well, if you're going to be accused of fraud and you think, oh shit, moment, you're like, what can I think of? I know, I'll tell them I'm trying.
I'm a time traveler.
At the very least, they're going to think I'm a loon and just take me away. Yeah. That's what he claimed. Therefore, he knew which stocks to invest in by studying the historical records in his time. He said he had planned to make it appear less suspicious by losing money here and there to make his profits appear more natural, but claimed he got caught in the moment. Yeah, well, you obviously didn't think about it too much because there's quite a bit of difference between the money variations. You know, we're talking about lose a tenner and gain over 50 or something like that. Yeah,
Right.
not in the amounts that you're talking about there. During his imprisonment period, Mr. Carlson supposedly offered information beneficial to the human community. He said he could tell about the cure for AIDS or reveal the location of Osama bin Laden or Osama bin Laden.
What?
So I kind of fucked up a minute.
No.
So he could tell about the cure for AIDS and reveal the location of Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah,
And he also said he had even predicted the US invasion of Iraq. Again, we're now coming to that sort of predictions that, you know, is questionable. Carlson offers that, though, we're all falling.
Oh my God!
Listen, you take over. There's a reason anyway. I need to pop off a minute.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
The
dog's like at him to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And get off. Right. Carlson's offers, though, were all falling on deaf ears. The investigators were sure he was either a pathological liar or a lunatic. They began digging into Carlson's past and found that no records of him existed prior to a couple of months before his arrest.
Really?
There was nothing. Didn't exist.
Wow.
Nobody knew where he was born, who his parents were, or where he lived. He was, in effect, a ghost.
Huh.
Like, not a sheet ghost, but
right.
He didn't have a sheet on or anything. His bail was set at $1 million, and a mysterious stranger posted his bail, and both disappeared and were never, ever seen or heard of again.
Wow.
What?
That is interesting. I mean, not that he was a time traveler, but...
It's all interesting. And it was in the mainstream media, Danielle, so it's true.
Okay. I was going to say maybe, he had had that, like a little bit of ESP or something like that, and could just, but then again, wouldn't he have foreseen that he would have got caught? So,
And then couldn't he, like, once he got his bail, went back in time and not done that?
Yeah.
Or told himself not to do that, so he didn't get caught. So we wouldn't be talking about it because it didn't happen.
Right. So now, news websites and media around the globe, from Japan to Germany, Australia to the UK, took it up. And the story carried amazing details. However, the FBI agents investigating allegations of insider dealing swooped to arrest the 44-year-old trader, only to be amazed by his 4-hour-long videotape confession.
Yeah, which has never been released. And I want to see them.
Yeah, shouldn't we be able to see them?
Let me see!
I want to see the video.
Yeah.
So Carlson didn't bother with the traditional, it wasn't me, it was the other bloke whose name I forgot type excuses they reported. Instead, he offered the mind-boggling modern-day Doctor Who confession that went on to virtually cripple internet search engines, clogged up.
It was in the mainstream. Everybody was looking up like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and sparked, yes, he is, or no, he isn't debates.
Oh, yes, he is.
Different bars and offices around the world.
Yeah.
Imagine the arguments are going on there. But reporters began contacting the FBI, and when the Scotsman newspaper contacted the FBI, they spoke to a Bill Carter who was very well aware of the story. And he said, I had called about this yesterday too. When I think about it, the other call came from Britain too, he said.
Because we're nosy.
Yeah. After scoffing at the notion that anyone could make that much money off an initial $800 investment, he continued, there might have been an individual by that name arrested for fraud in any one of our field offices out there. We arrest hundreds of people each week, which only added fuel to the fire. Why say that and not just outright, deny it?
Yeah.
So,
just say it's bullshit.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. There's no record of him. But then to say there might be a record of him.
Yeah. But he concluded the call by stating, quote, but the notion that there may be a time traveler out there has not reached the attention of FBI headquarters, end quote.
Well, I'm convinced. This story is today referred to as a myth. it was first told in a tabloid newspaper called Weekly World News, which apparently is does make up some bullshit, but doesn't they all?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, they do, but yeah, well, they do. They're all
You
liars.
do. We know. It's okay.
But this one is more blatant about it. They admit they make up bullshit.
Yeah.
But it was subsequently picked up by various websites and blogs, and they further disseminated the myth before it was reprinted as fact by multiple media agencies around the world. Many still believe it to be true and point to a cover-up in the sudden change of it being reported as fact by the mainstream media to it now being called a myth. Why the change? But many others believe it's a made-up story, and they never even believed it when it was first presented in the media, being reported as truth. If indeed that's the case, it's a glaring testimony to how corrupt the media has become, because they simply saw a story and then copied it and printed it and then fed it to the population as truth without even bothering to do the simplest of checks on its validity.
Sounds about right, don't you think?
That's just top-notch journalism right there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. I think a satirical newspaper made this shit up.
I think
they just all copied it because it got it was put all over the internet and blogs and whatever, and they just copied it and took it as fact without checking, which they do all the time.
They do, and had they not reported on it, then they would have why didn't you catch on to this story? It's like everybody had to have their hand in the cookie jar.
Check. And then it's weird that the FBI agent said, well, there might have been somebody arrested for fraud with that name. Why not just say, this is bullshit, what are you on about? Go away.
Go away. Well, do you want to tell them about, maybe they've heard of it, do you want to tell them about the coronavirus? Or what do you
I do want to tell them about the coronavirus because it's very exciting, and I'm going to, because Danielle doesn't know about it, so I'm going to tell Danielle.
Yeah, tell me more.
Brace yourselves, because this one might just be legit. Whereas the last one was bullshit. This happened. The Vatican's history, I've started with the Vatican to draw you in. The Vatican's history is filled with secrets. Yeah. And one of the most intriguing is that of the coronavisor, not to be mistaken with the coronavirus.
Right.
Coronavisor is nothing to do with that.
Chronovisor.
Yeah. The chronovisor is said to be a device that gives the user the ability to see through time.
Like a looking glass.
Yes, Danielle. Though the existence of the chronovisor has never been proven, or disproven, I would say, a 2002 book by a Vatican priest called Father Francois Brun says otherwise. I've got a picture. That's not him, but he's going to come up in a minute. That's the wrong picture, but whatever. I'll show you in a minute.
Okay. According
to Brun, the chronovisor was developed by this bloke, that is, see, I told you he was coming. He's called Father Pellegrino Arnetti, and he was a Benedictine monk.
Okay.
Arnetti allegedly kept the device secret until the early 1960s when he confided in Brun and told him that 12 scientists, including the famed physicist Enrico Fermi and former Nazi scientist Werner von Braun, helped him to build it.
Oh.
And that's Enrico Fermi, who allegedly helped to build it. He won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1938, in case you were interested.
All right.
Now, a lot of big names there. Werner von Braun comes up in a lot of these conspiracy stories.
So the chronovisor is allegedly a device to see through time.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. To continue. Apparently, it's made of cathode rays, antenna, and metals that received sound and light signals on all wavelengths. The chronovisor purportedly allowed the team of scientists to document events of the past, including the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. The machine, therefore, could validate the teachings of the Bible simply by providing a first-hand look into the past. So you're not physically going there yourself. It's like you're watching a video sort of thing. The de facto resource on the chronovisor is Brun's 2002 book, which I mentioned before. That one.
Okay.
It's called Le Nouveau Mystery du Vatican. And I'm sure I didn't say that right at all, but you can read it on the screen yourself and figure out what it says. In it, Brun explains how he met Father Ernetti on a boat ride across Venice's Grand Canal in the early 1960s. Like Brun, Ernetti was well versed in the history of ancient languages, which made for natural conversation. But soon, Ernetti directed their chat towards science. Brun had been expounding on the many ways in which the Christian Bible could be interpreted, when Ernetti suggested that he had access to the truth via a time-travelling device. And he was like, what the fuck? Tell me more. According to Ernetti, the device had several antennae, 3 of which were made of, which he called, mysterious metals. Whichever that means. I don't know what that means, but they were mysterious.
Mysterious, yeah.
That picked up sound and light waves across their entire respective spectrums. It was never expanded upon any further than that. A direction finder on the device was allegedly tuned into the specific area that one wanted to view, while a screen displayed it and a recording device was available on it to capture the footage. So not only could they see into the past, they could record the past.
Okay.
The chronovisor was thus more of a window into the past than a time machine. As I say, you're not actually physically going to go there yourself.
Right.
And thus you're not going to be captured at a boxing match holding a mobile phone because you're just watching on the telly. So Ernetti said it worked like a TV, because basically that's what it is, catching echoes from days gone by that had been floating in space. So apparently all these echoes of past events float in space. And he claimed to have seen some astonishing things. Dun, dun, dun.
I don't know.
Ernetti recounted how he witnessed Marcus Tullius Cicero's speech to the Roman Senate in 63 BC. His gestures, his intonation, Ernetti effused, how powerful they were. What flights of oratory, he said. He made additional, increasingly bolder claims, such as having observed the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Many skeptics have pointed to the statues of Jesus and paintings made of the crucifixion as the source of the hoaxed photograph that he has to prove this.
But he's a priest. He doesn't lie.
There's a photograph of Jesus' crucifixion that he took a still photo from the chronovisor and used that as proof. And I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show you what people think it is. Brace yourselves. Black and white one on the left comes from the chronovisor. The one on the right is a painting that people are saying he took a picture of. It's not the same. It's similar.
It's similar.
But it's not the same.
Yeah, the nose isn't the same. But
other people are saying that it could be a statue that he took a photo of. I couldn't, because they didn't actually state which statue. They just said which country the statue was in. I couldn't, on short notice, because I've done this on very short notice, because we were going to do another episode, find the statue. So, that's what he's claiming that is a still image that he took from the crucifixion. I'm not saying it is. I'm just telling you that's what he said.
I'm saying it's not. How did he get that close? How did he get?
Well, it's on the telly, Danielle. We just took a screenshot of the telly.
Okay.
That's what he said.
All right. We're going by the priest's word. He's a priest.
Well, there's 2 priests, because there was a priest that told him about it in the first place, with the monk and then the Vatican priest. Skeptics have maintained that the photograph of Jesus was merely a cheap reproduction of a statue housed in an Umbrian church. I couldn't find the specific statue. They've all got statues of Jesus. I don't know what one they're talking about.
Yeah.
Others argued that the photo was merely a reversed image of Jesus made from a postcard, which was what I showed you. It's not. It's not the same, even if you reverse it.
No, it's not. I would agree with you there.
Regardless, from the founding of the Roman Empire to the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Enrique insisted that he and his team had taken a peek at some of the most important events from the Bible.
Okay.
On May the 2nd, 1972, an Italian publication called La Dementia del Corriere published his claim entitled "A Machine That Photographs the Past Has Finally Been Invented." The article covered Enriti's shocking statements for all of Italy to read. The magazine published the photograph from the chronovisor that he claimed captured the Romans crucifying Jesus Christ. The 1972 article also purported that Enriti had witnessed the Last Supper and had kept a photograph of this biblical event for himself as a souvenir. Again, that has never been released, although he has now since passed away. He maintained until his death in 1994 that the machine had been hidden away by the Vatican in order to safeguard it from falling into the wrong hands. And if this is indeed true, I would argue that it's already in the wrong hands. Just my
Good
opinion.
point. Good point.
Just my opinion. But it's true. The Vatican deny this. But interestingly, despite denying that they have this device, because they've been asked, in 1988, they made a decree that stated anyone using an instrument of such characteristics, like the chronovisor, would be excommunicated.
Really?
What a bizarre decree to make over a device that they claim doesn't exist.
Wow.
Shortly before he died, Enriti wrote an open letter adamantly reiterating that the device was real. He claimed that Pope Pius VII forbade us to disclose any details about this device because the machine was very dangerous. It can restrain the freedom of man. And if that's true, and the Vatican have it, that's fucking terrifying.
It is terrifying, and it is, again, very strange that they would have gone to such lengths as saying somebody would be excommunicated.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah. So as tantalizing as this chronovisor may sound, many of his claims about it have since been apparently debunked. Allegedly.
Okay.
In 1996, Parcellus magazine issued further critiques of his claims. The piece questioned why Enriti hadn't published detailed instructions on how to build the device in order to legitimize his claims. Personally, I don't think that debunks it, because if he really thought it was dangerous,
he wouldn't want to,
and that's why it was hidden away in the Vatican, why would he tell people how to make another one?
Exactly.
That doesn't debunk it, in my opinion, but they think it does. It stood the test of time, though, as a Vatican mystery for the ages. Many believe the story to be true and argue that a Benedictine monk has no reason to make up such a story, and a Vatican priest has no reason to stand up for it as well and say, I've seen it. Yes, it does. They're quite supposed to be legitimate, quite truthful sources.
Right. It's supposed to be,
neither benefited from it or profited from it. He did write a book, but it didn't do that great, you know. And Brun, until his dying day, was fully convinced that the device was real. Many who believe this device does exist argue about the similarities between it and another device, Project Looking Glass.
I did say.
Which, to be honest, is a whole lot of a crazier story, and it has a hell of a lot of holes in it. Now, I don't believe in Project Looking Glass. I'm sorry, don't come from me, because it's the source. I don't believe the source. I'll tell you a little bit about it in case you don't know. In 2012, a microbiologist called Dr. Dan Burish came forward claiming to have worked for a top-secret group formed by President Truman. That group was Majestic 12. And that's got you hooked straight away, especially if you're in the conspiracy, like, Majestic 12.
It's got a special
He's saying all the words. According to Burish, US intelligence agencies had several devices that they built using instructions that they found in ancient Sumerian and Egyptian tombs. Although the instructions that were found in these tombs were originally extraterrestrial.
Allegedly.
According to him. One such device, dubbed the Yellow Cube, was used by global leaders to look into the future. In return for favours, the CIA would then hand the cube around from country to country, allowing the elites in those countries to see their own potential futures so that they could gain an advantage. The elites discovered that the future wasn't set in stone. Instead, it was a vast field of probabilities, the results of which are determined by your present actions. So they did what anyone else would do in the situation. They attempted to use this knowledge to manipulate the timeline in their favour, which, if that was true, that's what they would do. That's what they would do. It doesn't take a. You're gonna make up a story. That's
no, it's always going to be in their favor.
In their favor.
Yeah, it would always be in their favor, of course.
Over time, because of what they were up to, a new timeline apparently presented itself, and it was not a fucking good one. It was quite a bad one. Apparently, they saw a future where the entire planet was destroyed, everything gone, and it was all because they'd been using the yellow cube. So, just like that, they apparently just put it on a shelf and stopped using it, according to this bloke who told the original story. And that was Project Looking Glass over. They're not touching it again because, oh my god. And they wouldn't do that because they don't give a shit. Boorish, however, this is why I think it's bullshit, because Boorish also claimed that he helped an alien grey being held captive in the United States by the government to not only escape captivity in the United States, he managed to get this alien grey that was a prisoner by the US government all the way to Egypt. Did he just go to the airport and bang it on a flight? I don't know. He managed to get it to Egypt, where it escaped through a Stargate. Planet. So, yeah. Project Looking Glass. The source.
Not so much?
Not so much. But the chronovisor, maybe. Who knows?
There's so much.
It's very difficult to say a Benedictine monk and a Vatican priest are going to make this shit up. And then when the Vatican, then you're thinking, oh, well, maybe they did. And then the Vatican will say, if anybody uses this device that doesn't exist, they'll be excommunicated. Why did they say that?
Yeah, that is a strange.
So who knows?
Come at that. Maybe
the Vatican and the miles and miles of shit that they're hiding from people.
That's a story in an episode.
TV.
Yeah, that's an episode yet to come forward too. I mean, we've got a lot to discover with the Vatican for sure.
And Jamie has returned, everybody.
Jamie has returned.
Here he is.
Hello, Jamie.
Yes, I've been to the future. I've been to the past.
You've been to the future and the past?
Both. Yeah.
Oh, and what happened?
That'd be telling. You might see the hints of it in some of these pictures later on. What can you imagine just seeing my little face and in the background and shit in the background? Yeah.
And Danielle's going to tell us about the next one.
I'm going to tell you about a laptop in 100 BCE.
Was that you, Jamie? You just bugger off back to 100 BCE.
You just went back there to hear that.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look, see if it looks like me.
All right. Well, a marble statue from circa 100 BCE called Grave Nescos of an enthroned woman with an attendant resides.
That's a name, isn't it?
What the name? Grave.
Yeah. Grave Nescos of an enthroned woman with an attendant.
Yeah, it's a long title for sure. But anyway, that statue resides in the John Paul Getty Museum in Los Angeles, and there are many people who believe it is ancient evidence of time travel.
That's a laptop. Look at it. Look at it.
Yeah, because the attendant in this sculpture is holding an object up before the woman, an object that looks remarkably like a laptop.
And it's not Jamie because it's got hair.
I borrowed a wig and a dress.
You bought a wig and a dress?
Yeah.
Did you just say that on live TV?
You can look at, I mean, there's like holes on the side of it and everything, but skeptics will claim that it's a very hollow chest.
That's a very stupid, pointless chest.
It is weird though. I mean, look at it. It does have like the holes.
You think they'd be like, oh, it's a book.
Yeah.
But a chest.
I don't know. What say you, audience?
Look,
what do you viewers think?
That's where you put the power cable. Look, in the side there.
Yeah, viewers, what do you think? Does that look like a chest? That doesn't look like a chest.
Doesn't look like a chest.
That doesn't look like a chest.
It would have been more convincing if they said it's a book or whatever. Yeah. Apparently, some people think it's a mirror, but I mean, really?
Can I just be like ask a question that might be what a problem is here.
What?
If we look at that picture,
Shall I put it back?
Yes, please.
Right, go on.
Right, if you look, like we said, it looks like a very thick, slim chest. It's also quite a slim, would be a slim laptop. Is it, see where them holes are? Is that part of the statue that's broken off? Is that like breakage lines all along the edges?
I don't know.
Am I just looking too much into this?
I don't know.
That's a possibility.
It could be.
Yeah.
Something could have fell off.
So it could have looked more like a chest, or it could have looked more like anything, really. You know?
I guess it would depend on its overall dimensions, which we really can't tell.
It could be something that's fell off. Who knows?
I don't know. I think we have a couple more examples here. Jamie, you think you'll be able to?
Yeah, I'll have a go. Yeah.
You have a go at it?
I can't fuck up more than earlier.
Go for it.
The air raid.
Air raid, huh?
What if you accidentally slipped through time and got a glimpse of a future event that had not yet taken place?
So that's like very like Nostradamus did, didn't it? Apparently, allegedly.
Yeah. This allegedly is what happened to journalist J. Bernard Hutton and photographer Joachim Brandt. They were sent by a German newspaper to do a story on the Hamburg shipyard in 1932. It was uneventful. It was an uneventful visit until the bombs began raining down on them. What?
Yeah, so you just like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Hutton and Brandt realised they were caught in the middle of an air raid and hightailed it out of there, but not before snapping some photographs. Oh, we've got evidence. We may have evidence.
We've not.
When they got back to the centre of Hamburg, no one believed their story. They developed the photos they took, intending to prove to everyone that they weren't crazy. In fact, they proved the opposite. The photos showed no signs of an air raid.
Yeah, so there was no evidence on those photos.
So 11 years later, Hutton was living in London when he opened up a newspaper and probably nearly spat his coffee across the desk. There was a story about Operation Gomorrah, an air raid on Hamburg. The accompanying photos looked exactly like he experienced in 1932. Well, there's a problem with all that, isn't there? I mean, that's an afterthought.
His photos didn't have any of it on it.
Wow.
No.
And we've got no record of the photos or nothing.
Yeah.
So it's just
We're
one
just
guy.
taking his word for it.
Yeah, I did that. I went back in time. I've done that before. Yeah, God, isn't that terrible? You know, where you accidentally go back in time and crap happens.
You accidentally go back in time and then there's an air raid and bombs start falling on your head.
But I've got photos.
I got photos, but you can't see them.
But you can't see them. Yeah, I can turn invisible, everybody, but it requires you to close your eyes or turn around. That's the only time when it works. Yeah. Well, if it is true, I do feel shame for him. He's had all bad luck, but yeah, I don't believe that one.
Yeah, I think you're just making shit up.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, we've seen photos, we've heard accounts, people have come forward and said they themselves are the time traveller. People saying that they've got access to a device that allows them to see different periods in time. We've seen loads of mobile phones that shouldn't be there, but on photographs. Is there any videos, though?
I don't know. Is there?
Yes, there is!
We have video evidence?
We've got video evidence, everybody. What were you going to say?
I was going to say I hope so, because I was editing something just before.
Yeah. So, we're going to show you the videos last. So, don't get impatient, because I need to go through some things before I show you the videos.
Okay.
So, we've looked at a couple of photographs of alleged time travellers. But what about video evidence? Well, according to believers, video evidence does exist. And the identities of those time travellers, as is a recurrent theme, are given away by the possession of items that should not exist within the time period in which the video was taken.
Mm-hmm.
Mobile phones. But it's always the mobile phones. Two famous examples, therefore, feature mobile phones. And it's a common theme throughout these stories. They just need to, if anybody for the future is watching this episode, Stop taking your mobile phone to the past.
But actually, it makes it more realistic because that's what people take. They take their keys, their
Yeah.
purse, the wallet, and the phone. I mean,
Yes.
they've got to have their phone. Everyone's attached to the phone, so
That's true.
Right, so the first video that we'll show you at the end comes from the extra footage included in Charlie Chaplin's 1928 film The Circus.
Ooh.
And that features a woman whom many time travel believers have postulated was holding a mobile phone to her ear and having a conversation. However, skeptics were quick to debunk this by claiming it was a hearing device that she was holding to her ear. But that doesn't really answer why she's talking to herself as she walks along the street. Unless she's just fucking crazy. I don't know. But if it was a hearing device and she's just babbling away to herself, that would negate the use of the hearing device because she's talking over whatever she's trying to hear. And apparently that's what it is, though. But it's just the fact that she's babbling away. Like, maybe she's just crazy. A crazy old woman. Who knows? The second one is from 1938. And this one is a bit more complex. This depicts a group of women leaving work in a factory. One woman in the centre of the frame is holding something up to her ear, and it's not her fingers, and she's having a conversation. Many believed this was a mobile phone and therefore proof of time travel. But this was apparently solved when a woman called Gertrude Smith later came forward. She claimed she worked for DuPont, the owners of the factory in the video.
Okay.
And she also claimed she was 17 in the video. She claimed that part of the factory had a telecommunications section and that DuPont had given her and 5 other women wireless phones to test out for a week. She also claimed that during the what's seen in the film, that she was on the phone to one of the scientists that wasn't in the clip. He was just outside of what was videoed.
This was 1938, though?
Mm-hmm. So wireless telephones in the
Wireless.
30s sounds fucking ridiculous, in my opinion.
Just a bit.
Considering that mobile radio telephones were first introduced 30 years later in the 1960s. And they were fucking massive. They weren't exactly mobile, and they were attached to a huge box. Like this. Generally, they were used in military applications, and some poor wanker in the front would have to wear this on a backpack while the general would use it, while the little dog's body soldier would have that in a backpack, and it was very heavy.
Yeah.
That was in the 1960s, and but apparently 30 years earlier, she had a little tiny mobile phone that was made by DuPont. Now, on April the 3rd, 1973, Motorola engineer Martin Cooper ran his rival Joel S. Engel of Bell Labs from the first prototype cell phone that was called the Dynatac 8000X. Why do they give them such ridiculous names? 8000X. It measured 9.1 by 5.1 by 1.8 inches. That's 23 by 13 by 4.5 centimeters. It weighed around 2 kilograms and had to be charged for 10 hours to get 30 minutes talk time.
That sounds about the size of like a tablet.
Yeah.
You know, like a.
But you had to charge it for 10 hours to get
An Apple
30 minutes talk time. I'd be so pissed off. This was just a prototype, though. That wasn't the one that was getting released to the public. It was only a prototype. It took a further 10 years before this was actually released publicly in 1983. And I've got some pictures of that. That's a prototype, and that's him with the prototype in the 70s. And he looks so chuffed with himself, doesn't he? He looks really chuffed with himself.
Those look like the ones that you saw in movies, like in the console of a sports car.
Yeah. So, that was released publicly in 1983. And it was still a bit massive, and it needed a huge amount of charge for only 30 minutes of talk time. And it cost $3,995. Like, really? I don't even know how much that is today, but I don't know. But it's
outrageous.
It's a lot. It's a fucking lot for a phone that you've got to charge for 10 hours to have a 30-minute conversation. Because you could have just driven to somebody's house in them 10 hours and had a conversation for the other 9 hours.
Good point.
Anyway, then came out the competitors, because Motorola's done it. Competitors are like...
They're like, we can make all this money on shit.
We can make money on this shit too. Mm-hmm. And the Nokia bricks hit the market.
And hit everybody else. When
And that is a Nokia brick on the left, but the previous versions, these are actually car phones.
Yeah.
That's how big they were.
You can see why they call them brick, you know?
Yeah. So these are the car versions, the first two pictures, and the phone part is fucking massive, and then that's the actual portable.
However,
you wouldn't even fit in your handbag, to be honest.
If these were readily available today, I'm sure my dad would have opt for one.
He's probably still got one. I mean, come on, he's still using a flip phone. Come on.
You don't knock the flip phones.
Yeah. So Nokia bricks replaced their earlier car phones. The brick was a bit smaller than the Motorola, but it was still massive, really, by today's standards. And then in 1989, much to Jamie's dad's delight, the first flip phone was released, again by Motorola. And Jamie's dad got very excited because he loves these flip phones. And the flip cover opened up at the bottom section, and the screen, and I use the term screen very loosely, was always visible because it was a number panel. It wasn't a screen, but don't take my word for it. I've got a picture.
No, listen.
Yeah, it looks like one of kids' toys.
I actually had probably the next model that came out after that exact same thing. It flipped down. I wish I still had it. I wish I still had it. And it did. It flipped down from the bottom, and it had the antenna that you pulled up. You know,
I didn't even notice a little antenna. You got
mine was gray. Mine was gray.
So that's 1989. So you got the flip phone, 1989. Again by Motorola, and that was called the MicroTac 9800.
MicroTac
9800
tacky. MicroTacky.
And it's like Fisher Price is my first mobile phone. So the screen's always visible. I don't even know if this bit's just a bit plastic to cover the keys, or if it actually had any functions. Did it have the mouthpiece in it, or?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, the speaker was on the part you flipped down.
So it wasn't just a flap. It actually had the function.
And the one I had, and then it also, but the flip on mine was actually thinner, and it was designed just to cover the keys. But this one right here, I believe, had the microphone in the base part, in the flip part. The one I had, the microphone was like just below those bottom keys, and it was just a thin plastic that shielded the keys from getting accidentally pressed.
All right, so now we've seen the phones. Go back to the patent explanations. Now, the DuPont company initially worked with chemicals and created things like gunpowder for the military. In 1938, whilst they still worked with chemicals and created ingredients for things like insecticide, they were also creating materials like polyester and synthetic rubber, and they even invented Teflon. So, well done. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But we are expected to believe that they randomly created a portable phone in the 1930s to explain away this video. No prototypes are sitting in a museum somewhere. No patents were ever created for it. Nothing. But yeah, allegedly that's what happened, and therefore, on the basis of this complete lack of evidence, this video has apparently been completely debunked, based solely on the statements of a woman using the surname Smith. Because that always sounds legit, doesn't it? When you're
probably the most popular American name. I don't know about other.
I think it's the most popular every name.
Yeah.
Another theory that's been put forward is that the factory video is just a makeup mirror that apparently she's holding to her ear and
talking.
Because that's what you do.
Because you've got a little flip makeup mirror that she's holding to her ear and talking to, because she really wanted to see what was in her ear and talk about it to nobody. Anyway, now you've heard the stories and their apparent explanations. Let's have a look at both the videos, and we're just going to leave you on this one, because this is the final one, to decide for yourself.
Come here.
And
yeah, let's see the video.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. The second one there, I mean, to me, that could have been like she could have had anything in her hand, and that just because it was in a slow motion, she might have just like been scratching her face while she had something in her hand or doing something with her hair, and then brought it down. And
But to me,
she's come forward, Danielle, when they had a phone.
But to me, it
No.
looked like she was folding something down. That's what I thought. But
a lot of people have that's why it was slowed down, because a lot of people have claimed that when she takes it away, she was flipping it closed because it was a flip phone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The first one is a little interesting, though. You know, it really did.
The first one.
It did look like she was holding
See.
something there and talking as walking. Yeah, like you would see today.
Yeah. I don't know.
Interesting. I don't know. I'm
not being ageist or anything, but would they really send a little old lady back as a time traveler?
Well, again, there's this whole thing about tourists, right? Like people that can go back in
holidays. She's on her holidays and she wants to see Charlie Chaplin movie. That's what happened.
Time travelers that go back and view historical events, apparently. And actually, I think there was a movie that depicted that kind of theory, that they would go back and view. They weren't allowed to interfere, but go back and view historical events, just like we would our history books to learn things. They would be allowed to go back and view as historical events. I don't know. When it comes to time travel, I try to keep an open mind when we do these kinds of things.
I think a lot of these have been debunked.
Yeah.
Like that one at the boxing match is most definitely that camcorder. They've been debunked. But there are a couple that leave you wondering, like the chronovisor.
Right.
And the one that was all in the mainstream media about the inside trader, allegedly. Just because the FBI didn't say bullshit, they're like, well, we might have been arrested for fraud. Like, why say that?
Well,
but that last one, like, why make up a whole story about this woman that like says that she was testing a mobile phone that didn't exist, and that, like, the technology to make it that size didn't exist. The actual debunk story sounds more ridiculous than the time travel story.
Yeah. And then you got to look at the whole idea to begin with. It's a really fascinating idea to think about time travel, because it's something a lot of us like to do, right? So to be
would you like to go back in time or forward in time?
Well, that's a good question. There are many reasons that I would like to go back in time. Future, I don't know. I'd be a little.
The future one's a bit more scary because
it's very scary. It's very scary, especially when you look at the old H.G. Wells, the movies.
You don't know what you're going to arrive in.
Yeah, you might end up with some Morlocks or something that have been up and but fascinating nonetheless. And I mean, that's why we kind of tend to think about these things as being true, because, I mean, one, they could be true, but we'd like to put the fact, we'd like to do these things. So why not make it a possibility?
I think I would like to go back more than, because going forward, you don't know what you're going to encounter.
Right.
That's like the unknown. Although there is a lot of unknown in the past, I would like to go back though, just to like see things that like solve the unsolved, the mysteries. Like go back to like when JFK was assassinated,
right?
And like stand in the school book depository and see where the shot came from.
Yeah, once and for all.
Knowing my luck, I'd get arrested, and then the whole history would change, and it would be like Scottish women killed JFK because I was stabbed in the school book depository.
And then Jamie and I would have to go back in time and rescue your butt.
Yeah. Or like even further, like go back and like see who built the pyramids and when
and how.
And how they done it. What, did they have technology? Did Atlantis really exist? Just go back and find out these things that you want to know the answer to, but you're not convinced that you're getting the answers.
Yeah. And just, these were just a handful of stories here that, that
there's more. There's so many. There's so many.
There has, there's got to be more, but I don't know.
There is a theory though that I don't know who purported this theory, because I'm just remembering it. No, it wasn't like part of it. It's not something that I researched for this to make sure I had all the names and everything. That if and when time travel is invented, so just say on Christmas Day of this year, somebody makes the first time machine. So it's 25th of December, 2023. The first time machine ever created by humanity is made.
Okay.
Theory is that no matter who in the future decides to travel through time, they won't be able to travel to a time before the 25th of December 2023 because it
Had it just been created?
It didn't exist until then.
Interesting.
But if that was
hello,
yeah, but if that's the case, then the thing is, if they were going back into, even if they invented it so they can only go back in time, if that's the argument, then they would actually age regress, wouldn't they, and start getting younger and younger and things like that. And so if I'm sure there's got to be a way where that isn't an issue, sort of bypassing, but I don't know. There is a lot of complications with time travel.
I've got a question in the chat. Where are the towers for these phones? That's what I asked Jamie. I said to Jamie, if they had come for the future with their mobile phone, how are they getting a signal? Like, how are they managing to make a phone call?
Well, if they're that advanced in technology, maybe it's not a tower that they need. Maybe there's another source.
They got it on the actual. Maybe they might have it on a spacecraft.
Oh, there's a spaceship now. Oh my God! But there's a spaceship now.
Well, like satellites that are, the satellites where the signals are being bounced off now. I mean, you don't.
But there wasn't a satellite in the 1930s, was there?
Well, we don't know. If there was time traveling tourists or cell phones or what have you,
they've gone back in time and put a satellite, and that's what the Black Knight satellite is.
Well done, Danielle. You've solved it.
Oh, I like the other one too. Here you go.
Go and see if there are footprints and a flag on the moon. Well, we might be able to answer that for you when we do
when we get there.
The moon episode, which I'm not going to say it's coming next week because it depends if we fix this computer, but it's coming. It's coming, and we might have answers. Just maybe
eventually.
So yeah.
Well,
time travel. Would you? I'd asked. Would you like to go forward in time or backwards?
I'd go back into that. You can expect my answer. I'd go back in time and go onto the set of Star Wars and see if C-3PO's leg was actually silver.
Really?
All the important things.
All the important shit. Yeah. I want to go back and see if the CIA murdered the president of the United States. Jamie wants to see if a fake robot's leg was silver.
That's too funny. That's what you would go back and check out, huh?
I would also. I mean, like
grab some old sweets and bring them back. The ones we used to enjoy.
All the foods that's been discontinued that you can't get anymore.
Yeah. I'm thinking about all the important stuff.
There's a question, right?
Would it be out of date by
the time? Would
you
it be out of date when you brought it back?
Oh no!
If you went back and got some a whole batch of your favorite cookie that's you can no longer get these cookies for your childhood, and then you traveled back in time to the present. Would they be out of date? Would they be fusty? Would they be moldy?
Expiration be gone. Wow. Good on you. Wouldn't have thought of that. Be instantaneous.
That'd be disappointing. That'd be if I went back and got a proper wagon wheel, not this bullshit you're getting now, and brought it all the way back to 2023, and it was fucking moldy, I'd be so pissed off.
No, listen, that's like a Twilight Zone episode. The guy, it was the rifle that they found, and it was perfect. It was in that time, and then when they went back and time had changed, it was old rusty thing that they had found, so it had technically expired. But yeah, very interesting.
It's an interesting topic. Travel, that's just that magical part of it, the what if, isn't it?
As I said, it's something that we would all like to maybe do, and I think that
everybody's fascinated by it.
I think our minds go there.
That it's even ever theoretically possible, or they think that it happened. I mean, do you think that any of the ones that we covered today? Do you think that the coronavisor is a possibility? Are you convinced that we think we've debunked some of them? Do you think it were wrong? Let us know in the comments below.
Could be.
We could, if you could prove to us that we're wrong, I'm quite willing to hold my hands up and say, "Oh, sorry, I'm wrong. Yes, that did happen." Apart from.
Oh my! What if John Titor was the one? What was the only true one? The rest was all bollocks. That would throw you through a loop, wouldn't it? The one
I was
that
going to
you've
say,
made
apart
off.
from John Teeter,
Yeah.
who's like just needed to go on eBay because it's stupid.
Yeah.
If you think you can convince me of that, you're wrong, because I'm never going to be convinced.
She's not going to waver on that one. No.
I'm not moving. I'm not budging, no matter what evidence you throw at me. Totally bullshit. And he may potentially be a criminal.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Anyway, let us know what you think. Make sure, because running out of time, if you want to get your Christmas presents, go to thecuriouscasefiles.com. The address is below, and it will be on the end credits as well. / or click the button at the top, whatever, / is it store? I can't remember. Just go to the website and find a shop. And when you put things in your basket that were designed by me and maybe not Danielle,
No.
but she gave us ideas and we
I
did draw them.
approve.
She
I
gave
approve of
ideas.
this message.
You drew. Put them in your basket and put the code. What's the code, Danielle?
Ho, ho, ho.
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. H-O, H-O, H-O. To get a little discount at the checkout as our gift to you. And Danielle's going to talk us out while I find the video.
Going to talk us out. As she said, please visit our store. Hit that thumbs up, like, share. If you're watching this later, please still hit that thumbs up and share and subscribe. And hopefully you will find something interesting in our past episodes. We know you'll find something interesting in the future because we're hitting it all.
Because I've been there and I know you liked it.
That's right. And we will see you next Tuesday.
Or maybe last Tuesday.
Last.
That'd be creepy, wouldn't it? See you later.